Daniel. I wanted to work a little bit more with you. But let me remember first, with you last week, were we working on a video, the listening skill? It was an article, right? The last thing we were doing, Daniel?
Yes, it was about what was the topic?
It was food waste, right? Food waste and replacement for natural gas. Is that correct?
Yeah, it is regarding the war between Russia and Ukraine and what the European countries are thinking on to
Great.
replace.
Very good. So let's continue on that one, please, because there is more interesting vocabulary about that I would like to keep learning with you. So I'm sharing my screen. All right, I'm closing this one. Sorry, and there you go. So we were learning a lot of vocabulary as well, if you remember, right? We were learning about food waste, farm sludge, and sewage, right? And we know now what these are and how we can use these elements to replace natural gas in a certain way. But we only got to read the first paragraph,
Yeah.
right? We stop there. So we know that they can release, right? Decaying, right? Decomposing organic matter, like is
Mm-hmm.
food waste. They can create and release biogas, and it produces methane, right? Or biomethane. And you can use this type of gas to create energy. So let's keep working, please, Daniel. I'm going to ask you to read the next two paragraphs to continue learning some vocabulary and more about this situation. Let's go with this one, please.
Okay, it's an opportunity to find source of energy other than natural gas supplied by Russia and thereby distance ourselves from Vladimir Putin's regime. He argues the best thing the best thing if is if you can make the gas, put it in and replace Putin. European governments have faced a difficult scenario since Russia launched its invasion of Ukraine. On one hand, introducing sanctions against Putin's regime, and wealthy businessmen close to him, while on the other continuing to buy millions of dollars of gas every day from Russia. Europe gets roughly 40% of its natural gas from Russia. Some countries have been reluctant to follow the US in imposing a ban on imports of Russian fossil fuels.
Thank you very much, Daniel. So before understanding this globally, right, let's try to check this idea. So this one, right, once again, as singular is going to be source, but how is it going to, it's going to be, sorry, as plural?
Sources.
Okay, good, sources. This one, just a little change, that's a little bit more like, and it's going to be like Russia. Let's repeat that one, please.
Russia.
Russia, okay, good. This one, I think it's very good. Just a stress, but let me verify. How do you read this word?
Vladimir Putin's regime.
Okay, it's going to be a little bit more like in the middle, okay, like the regime.
Regime. Okay.
Yes, correct, good. And this one, that ooh, a little bit more like, I like reluctant.
Reluctant.
Okay, there you go. Now, before understanding some words just by the way they are, let's try to explain this generally, Daniel. How can you explain this information in your own words?
Okay. Well, in the first paragraph, it's talking about an opportunity, or it refers to the previous paragraph. So, uh, in terms of how they can supply or replace the the chemic or the natural gas in this case. Um, yeah, they're talking about the president and the big problem here. And then in the next paragraph, yeah, they're talking about the same, the president, that the big problem is caused by him because the invasion. Um, how they can like sanction him or the country to, I don't know, to not, or can I say this, to let him know uh, what's from here, or I don't know, just to um, can I say this? Mm, Desequilibrar el país, ¿cómo podría decir eso?
You can say destabilize, all right, destabilize, or you can say unbalance, to unbalance the country.
Yeah, that sounds better. Unbalanced the country, or unbalanced Russia. Um, there are some words that I don't remember the meaning, like roughly 40%. Um, are reluctant as well, reluctant as well. But that's what I understand. It's this paragraph is most like referred to the president and the country, Russia.
All right, great. Thank you very much, Daniel. So let's go to those words. All right. So yes, we have that idea. This is related to Putin. This is related to Russia in general, right? The sanctions that they are receiving because of this word. But roughly, let's remember we covered this in one article that was referred to Italy, and roughly was similar to approximately. Okay, so roughly it means that it's not exactly 40%, but it's more or less that percentage. All right, roughly, approximately in this case.
Okay.
Then reluctant is to give a negative answer or response towards something, all right, that was expected to be positive. For example, here, right, United States wants to impose a ban on imports on Russia. Okay, that's what the US is doing. But
Mm-hmm.
Europe, okay, Europe, because of the dependence that they have with the countries in Europe have with Russia, they have been reluctant to follow that ban. Because if they follow that ban, right, the US imposing ban, they are going to be affected negatively, right? So to be reluctant, it only means to give a negative response to something, not to
Okay.
follow something, not to do something, all right? Or
Okay.
not to have the intention of doing it, okay? Not to have the intention of doing so. So, but, and this is one question that I have here, Daniel. Why, okay, why is Europe as a continent not following the advice from the US? Why are they still importing natural gas from Russia? How can you answer that?
Well, this last part is very important in this in all of this paragraph. Um, this last part refers that there are many countries, or there are still many countries that depends from Russia. It could be the natural gas or another minerals could be, but yeah, this last part means that if they will follow, they will follow to United States. Maybe that will be a bad thing for them because they depend on Russia.
Yes, it is correct because actually, if they follow the US, they are going to be affected negatively, right? Europe and the countries in Europe. Because if they export, or sorry, in this case, import, right? If they import 40% of natural gas from Russia, it means that if they decide to ban, right? If they decide to ban these imports, they are going to be affected. They are not going to get this 40%, which is a lot, and their population, right, is going to again receive negative effects on that decision, right? So all in all, Europe depends on Russia, and even though Europe is against the war, right, between Russia and Ukraine, they still import from Russia. And I don't know if you were listening to the latest news, but they were saying, right, Russia is asking Europe to pay in their local, okay, currency or current, because they don't want US dollars because of the economic sanctions and everything they are suffering, right? I think it's the rubles that they want to ask for. But that's it. I don't know if you have any specific questions before going to the next part. I would like to read one more part, but let me know if you have any questions, please, Danny.
This part we can use also the word that I asked before, the destabilized or destabilized.
Yes.
So many countries will be destabilized or unbalanced if they follow
Yes,
this plan.
correct. Exactly. That would be a great explanation because without that 40%, where they are going to get that natural gas from, right? They are going to be like looking for a new source and it's going to create a lot of chaos,
Yeah.
right? So good, very good. So with that one, I would like to finish with this last paragraph over here, please, Daniel. Let's read this one. We understand it and we finish with this.
Okay, this is why the European Commission recently decided to set new ambitious targets for biomethane production and other fuel sources in Europe. President of the Commission, Ursula von der Leyen, said in a statement, we must become independent from Russian oil, coal, and gas. We simply cannot rely on a supplier who explicitly threatens us.
Very good. Thank you, Daniel. So again, here is just complementing what we just read. Only these two words, please. This, if you realize, is very close to Spanish with this T, but it's going to be ambitious, right? Ambitious. Let's repeat that one,
Ambitious.
please. Good, very good. This one, remember, this TH is very strong and that A also, so it's going to be biomethane, biomethane.
Biomethane.
Okay, very good. So again, I know that this is clear, Daniel, but just for practicing, how can you explain this last part in your own words?
Okay, well, the last part is a really good quote, could be, or a statement, as it said. So, yeah, most of the countries should be independent from Russia, but if we can think about that, Russia has at least the 40% of the territory of Europe. I don't know exactly what percent is, but if you look at the map, it's very big. So it will be difficult for other countries because many countries in Europe are smaller, are very small to produce a lot of minerals or I don't know another type of resource. So that's what I think. Um, yeah, but she said that that should be a fact for most of the countries in Europe, be independent.
Great, thank you very much, Daniel. Just in case I'm writing the word that I told you before, destabilized, all right, destabilized. And here, yes, there's one very important word that we have here, Daniel. I'm going to show you this one. That is this one. What is to threaten someone or something, Daniel? How can you explain this word? Threaten.
Presence, I could be like um um which was the word like uh, amenaza, pero no sé cómo decirlo en inglés, con otra palabra, un sinónimo.
That's the word you can use. Look, perhaps there's not going to be like a specific synonym, but you can play with the words and you can use, for example, the word warning. Okay, and you can say a strong warning or a negative warning, right? Because if you don't do this, there's going to be a very negative consequence. Or you can say just a strong and negative message, right? Because it's what you're saying is something, okay, that is conveyed negatively because this person or this country is telling you that you're going to suffer some negative consequences, right? But again, it can be a negative or strong warning or a negative or strong message, right? And of course, yes, because Russia is always giving these strong messages and strong warnings to Europe, right? And even though Russia is threatening, right, Europe, they are still importing gas from Russia. So that's why they are looking for a way, right, for a good way and a new way not to be dependent on Russia, because that's going to, well, be like contradictory to what they want and what they do to Russia with those sanctions, right? But that's what I wanted to add, Daniel. I don't know if you have any other questions to close up with this one.
Yeah, it's really unbelievable how this is happening today's or nowadays. So I don't know what will happen, but we will see.
Yes, that's right. Right? Many people didn't believe that it was going to happen, but actually it did. And well, yes, let's only hope for the best. Right? So that's going to be it, Daniel. I hope you got some interesting words from this one, even though perhaps they were not new, but for practicing pronunciation and practicing their usage. All right. Do you have any final comments or questions to finish? Let me know, please.
No, teacher, that's all.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. So as always, please, you're welcome, Daniel. Let's fill out the survey. Thanks for being here. Have a good night, and I'll see you tomorrow for the next class.
Okay, teacher, see you tomorrow.
Bye bye. All right, now I'm with you, Larissa. How are you, Larissa? Is everything okay?
Hello, teacher.
Hello, how do you feel today, Larissa? Is everything good?
Yes, I'm good.
Great, that's great to know, Larissa. So with you also, we have to work with this article, Larissa. As last week, we were working on the listening exercise, if you remember, right, about memory from the BBC. Now we have this article from the BBC that is this: how waste food can reduce our reliance on natural gas. All right. So to read this article and before going to the first part, Larissa, let's understand this together. What do you understand when you read this headline, Larissa?
Um, eh, I don't know what is waste, but it's maybe the way can we cook?
Waste is going to be this one, and this is going to help understanding perhaps everything. Waste means the residues, okay, what you don't eat. For example, if you are eating a banana, right, what's the waste fruit? It's going to be the peel, right, the skin, because you peel the banana,
Mhm.
and the waste food is going to be that part of the food that you don't eat. All right, when you
Yes.
finish eating something, all right, it's always the residue, or you can also call that in English, Larissa, the leftover. Okay, the leftover or the residue. All right, I don't know if it helps understand.
Reliance.
One more time, please, Larissa.
Reliance.
Reliance. Reliance, this word in this context, Larissa, is very similar to dependence. Okay, so you can say how food residues can reduce our dependence on natural gas.
Okay.
All right, but how can you explain then this in your own words, Larissa? What are they trying to say with this idea?
If we eat waste food, we don't need cook and um, and use the natural gas.
Okay, yes, that's one possibility, right? We have a lot of possibilities because we didn't read the article yet, but that's one possibility and it's correct. But I'm going to give you also an extra element before going to the article, that is, and it's the conflict. I was talking about this, I don't know if you were able to hear with Daniel, the conflict with Russia and Ukraine. Why do you believe that this article is related to the war between Russia and Ukraine? What do you say? What do you think is the connection?
Mm, because in this time, actually, uh, they don't have maybe a lot food and and this and the natural gas maybe for the
Yes,
war.
that is correct, right? There are many things that are not available now because of the war, right? Food, there's no food, there's no natural gas, and so on, right? You're right. But if I ask you outside the word, I mean, it's related to the word, but which, I don't know if you know this one, Larissa, but what country is the biggest exporter of natural gas in Europe? What country is the biggest exporter of natural gas in Europe?
Mm, I am not sure. I don't remember.
It's one of these countries. Which one do you believe? Is it Ukraine
Okay,
or
okay.
Russia?
Maybe Russia.
Yes, it is Russia. Okay. Russia is the biggest exporter of natural gas. It exports 40% of Europe's gas. Okay, and that's a lot. Europe depends on Russia, okay,
Mm,
for natural gas. Now, it means if you realize that they are looking for alternatives
mhm,
in order not to depend on the natural gas from Russia. Okay, because now they don't have a good relationship with Russia, but Russia gives them natural gas. So Europe depends, relies on Russia for their natural gas. So Europe is looking for alternatives, okay, for alternatives in order to create energy, not needing natural gas. All right, that's going to be the connection. I don't know if you have comments about that before going to the article, Larissa. Let me know, please.
no, teacher.
Okay, so, but let's have that in mind. All right, that's going to help understand in a better way the article because we have a lot of new words, but that's the idea. Okay, waste food as an alternative, reliance as dependence, and natural gas related to Russia's natural gas. So
Okay.
let's go to this part over here. Let's read this one, please.
As gas price hit record highs, one renewable alternative to fossil fuel gas comes from food waste, farm sludge, and sewage.
Thank you, Larissa. Let's read because I know there's a lot of new words. This mainly, all right? This one, I know you know this word, but you read it as singular, right? Price. But what is the plural of price?
Mm, how much cost?
Good, but in the pronunciation, how do you read this word?
Uh, Prices.
Prices. Okay, exactly, right? And it's what you said, how much it costs, right? The price, or in plural in this case, the prices. Good. Now this one is going to be renewable. All right, let's repeat, please. Renewable.
Renewable.
Okay, very good. This one more than u, remember, most of well, not most of the times, not because English breaks rules, but sometimes it's going to be eu. So fuel, fuel.
Fuel.
Feel good. This U in this case is going to be like a sludge.
Sludge.
Good. And this is sewage. Sewage.
Sewage.
Sewage. Exactly. Okay, now let me explain this. You know now what is food waste, right? Food waste is the residues of food, right? What you don't eat. Farm sludge is residues from farm. Okay. Do you know what's a farm, Larissa?
Um, mm, yeah, I don't remember.
Farm, for example, you can find a lot of farms in the countryside, Larissa.
Okay,
And
okay.
in farms you find cows, sheep,
In
right?
the
Many animals. Okay, so sludge is the residue of many processes in a farm. Okay, I'm not an expert because I don't know what components they use in farms, but the residues Okay, the residues of farms are the sludge. Okay, farm sludge. So this is residue, food waste, residue, farm sludge, residue, and sewage, it's also residue. Sewage is residual water.
Mm,
Okay, residual water, what you find in sewers, right? Dirty water. All right, so residue, residue, and residue. So you have three types of residue, Larissa. Okay, food waste, farm sludge, and sewage. Now, with that explanation, how can you explain this introduction in your own words, Larissa? How are they using these three elements?
mm, the three elements are three alternatives use to use gas because the price in this moment is it's so high, maybe.
Yes, that is good. I think that was great, Larissa. Correct. So these are alternatives, right? Because you don't want to use fossil fuel gas. Because if you remember, right, the connection with Russia, for example, Europe depends on Russia for natural gas. So
Mhm.
Europe doesn't want to use natural gas anymore because doesn't want to depend on Russia. So they are looking for alternatives, renewable alternatives, okay? And there are three renewable alternatives: food waste, farm sludge, and sewage. It means that you can use these three elements to create energy. Okay, you can create energy using these three elements. Okay, and let's learn how. This is what we're going to do to finish today, Larissa. But it's very interesting, this part. First, do you have any questions about this one? Let me know, please.
No, teacher, it's
No?
clear.
So let's read the first paragraph then, please. This one over here.
At a large industrial facility not far southwest of Ireland's capital, Dublin, one man says all food waste and pig manure can help Europe fight climate change and reduce its reliance on Russia for energy. Russia. Billy Billy Costello explains that decaying organic matter releases biogas, I don't know, which firms like Green Generations, the one he directs, can collect and purify to produce methane or biomethane, as it's called when it comes from such sources.
Thank you very much, Larissa. So let's finish with this one. But first, let's take a look at these words. This "u," remember, this is going to be mainly the two rules, Larissa. If you memorize these two rules, you are not going to make mistakes with the "u," okay? If the "u" is not like "a," for example, here is Dublin. If it's not "a," then it's going to be "u." Look, here is "a," Dublin. Here is "a," Russia. But here is "u," purify. So if you read this one, purify, it sounds weird, right? So it means it's not the "a," then it means it's the "u." Okay, so a, u. Dublin, Russia, and purify. Let's repeat those three words, please, Larissa. Dublin,
Dublin,
Russia,
Russia, and purify.
purify. Very good. So it's almost always going to be one of those two. All right, a, or u. Then this one, remember, this E is going to be like I, so reliance, reliance.
Reliance.
Good. Dependence, right? Dependence. This is I, so it's going to be biogas. Biogas.
Biogas.
This is the, so it's going to be methane.
Methane.
Good. And this is the combination. How do you read this one then, Larissa?
Biomethane.
Biomethane. All right. Now, in other words, here they are telling you that you can use food waste and pig manure. This was correct, Larissa, manure. This is abono, all right, pig manure. So you can use these elements because when they are decomposing, okay, the decaying means decomposing, that is, and when they are decomposing, they release or they create or they produce biogas. In other words, when they produce biogas, they can collect and purify that biogas to produce methane. And they can use methane or biomethane to create energy. And it can replace natural gas. And in that way, Europe is not going to depend on Russia. All right, that's the explanation I wanted to give to understand this part. But I don't know if you have any questions about any other words, Larissa. Let me know, please.
Pig manure is the excrement of pig.
Correct. Exactly. It's the pig's excrement. That's correct.
Okay.
And if you realize, that's also residue, right? Residue. So everything that is residue, that is organic matter, is going to be decomposed, right? Everything decomposes. And that's going to release this. And as a consequence, you obtain this to create energy.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Good. So then let's finish over here, Larissa. We're going to continue working on this document. We're going to read at least 3 more paragraphs because we have some more interesting vocabulary. All right. Do you have any final questions or comments to finish up? Let me know, please.
No, sure, I don't have.
Okay, there you go. So as always, please, Larissa, down below you can find the survey, all right, the poll. Let's answer the questions, please, and let me know when you do it.
I'm done.
Great. Thank you very much for being here. Have a good night, and I'll see you tomorrow, Larissa.
Thank you, teacher. You too. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye. All right, now with you, Paola. Good evening, Paola. How are you?
Hi, teacher. Fine.
Great. That's great to know, Paola. So with you, we already worked with this one, right? Last week, we were working on this article, Paola. Now we need to work on something a little bit different. That is going to be this element over here, Paola. That is a listening exercise. All right. This is going to be, let me just stop. This is going to be important. Let me share my sound because it's also important to work our listening skills. It can be hard, it can be easy, but the idea here, Paula, is to try to understand as much as we can, all right, as much as we can, and try to repeat and imitate the words. Okay, one of the best things to improve your speaking skills is imitating sounds, imitating accents. All right, so we're going to listen to short parts, and I'm going to ask you questions about it. All right, are you ready? Do you have any questions before starting? Let me know, please, Paula.
No, it's okay.
All right, so let's listen, please. This is the first part, only some seconds, and I ask some questions. Also, you can take notes, all right? If you feel comfortable, you can use Word or your notebook to take some notes.
Welcome to 6 Minute English. I'm Neil. This is the program where in just 6 minutes we discuss an interesting topic and teach some related English vocabulary. And joining me to do this is Rob.
Hello. Sorry, Neil. How long did you say this program is?
6 minutes. It's 6 Minute English, Rob.
Right, okay. Sorry, what's your name again?
Neil. My name's Neil, Rob. What's happened to your memory?
Oh, sorry, Neil. Too many things on my mind. It's affecting my short-term memory.
All right, up to that part. We're going to play it again, Paola, but that was the introduction. What can you tell me about this introduction? What were you able to identify or to listen to?
Okay, it's about a program that the during is 6 minutes. It's about English vocabulary and the name of the, I don't know how to say, maybe the guest is Neil, and the presenter have a short memory.
All right, good. I think you have very, very good elements over there. Yes, it is a program, right, The name of the program actually is 6-minute English because that's also the duration, right? It lasts 6 minutes, but it's also the name of the program. So good. This program is 6 minutes English, and actually in this case, it looks like they are host and guest, right? But actually both are presentators,
Okay.
right? Both are going to be hosts. All right, both are working there as hosts. And yes, you have Neil and you have Rob, right? Rob. Now, my question, what is happening between Neil and Rob? What are the questions related to a Paola? You told me something, but one more time, try to tell me about the interaction that they were having.
Mm, Rob asked, what is the name of the other host? And the topic of the name of the topic of the program is English vocabulary.
Good. Good. You have again the main elements over there. Yes, they are going to teach us English vocabulary, but actually that's not going to be the main topic. That's going to be one benefit, all right? Because in this topic that we're going to have, we are going to learn English vocabulary related to this topic. But to understand what the topic is, we're going to go back a little bit, all right, and try to identify one more time what is happening, all right? Because remember, both are hosts, both are presenting the program, so both should know everything. But one of them is asking weird questions to the other, right? Let's only pay attention to those questions and to the comment related to that topic at the end.
6 minutes. It's 6-minute English, Rob.
Right, okay.
English vocabulary. And joining me to do this is Rob.
Hello. Sorry, Neil. How long did you say this program is?
6 minutes. It's 6-minute English, Rob.
Right, okay. Sorry, what's your name again?
Neil. My name's Neil, Rob. What's happened to your memory?
Sorry, Neil. Too many things on my mind. It's affecting my short-term memory.
All right, so there you go. And again, you mentioned, I think, this one at the beginning, Paula, but one more time. What do you think is going to be the topic of this program just by the interaction that they are having and the comments that they are making?
Vocabulary English.
Good, that's what we're going to get, correct? English vocabulary, but related to what topic? Because you can learn English vocabulary, right, Paola, about finance. You can get English vocabulary about, I don't know, fashion, right? Technology. But what is the topic here? Just because of the questions. And let's try to remember one of the questions. What was one of the questions that they asked about? Okay, I'm going to play it again just to get it. It's going to be important to practice that one. Let's do it together. Look.
What's your name again?
Okay, so what's your name again? Right? What's your name again? And he answers, look at the tone of the voice, right? El tono de la voz.
Neil. My name's Neil, Rob.
Right, Neil. My name is Neil, Rob. Come on, you know. Why are you asking if you know? And this question is important. Tell me this question, you, Paula. This one over here.
What's happened to your memory?
Okay, what's that question? Can you repeat that question?
What's happened to your memory?
What's happened to your memory? All right. And just with that word, then what do you think is the topic for this program, Paola? What do you say?
Maybe some things that you don't remember?
Correct. And that's related to your memory. Okay, simply as that. The topic is going to be related to things that you remember, things that you don't remember, but everything is memory. All right, memory. Let's keep going, and you're going to see. Here you have a very interesting comment. Also, let's try to identify the words here, please.
Sorry, Neil. Too many things on my mind. It's affecting my short-term memory.
There. What is he answering, Paola? I'm going to play it one more time.
What's happened to your memory?
Sorry, Neil. Too many things on my mind. It's affecting my short-term memory.
So what is the answer about
Too many things on my mind affect on my short memory.
it? Exactly. Short-term memory, right? Memoria a corto plazo. Good. Great. Too many things on my mind. It's affecting my short-term memory. Okay, short-term memory. Very good. Let's keep going.
But what I can remember is that in this program, we're talking about improving our memory.
And there he mentions the topic of the program. Okay, so one more time.
It's affecting my short-term memory. But what I can remember is that in this program, we're talking about improving our memory.
Good. So what are we talking about in this program?
The program is about improving a memory.
Exactly, right? Improving our memory, improving our memory. So how do you say this can happen, Paula? And this is a question, all right? A personal question, Paula. How good is your memory, Paula? How good is your memory?
I think it's good, but it depends because I don't know all the numbers for all my friends. I only know the numbers for my family. So I think it depends. It depends the person. It depends how important it is for you.
Yes, I think the last thing is very, very important, Paula. You're right. It depends on how important that element is for you to remember, right? If it's something that is not important, perhaps it's easy to forget that one. But if it's something important, you were talking about your family, right? Of course, it's way important to remember information from your family than from your friends could be, right? Or it can be the other way around. Do you remember? Al revés, the other way around. It can be the other way around. For some people, it's more important to remember something about their friends than their families, right? So it's matter of importance, right? Cuestión de importancia. It's a matter of importance. Good. So the next question related to that, Paula, because it's related to this topic. How can you improve your memory? How can you improve your memory? Let's say that you don't have a good memory. What do you think that you can do to improve your memory?
Maybe you can take notes, or you need to repeat many times the same word or the number to try to remember.
Good, that's interesting. So you are telling me that we can use some strategies, right? We can use strategies, techniques to help us remember information that otherwise, right, we wouldn't be able to remember. Great. Let's have that in mind. I'm just going to play one more time, Paola, one more part, and let's listen to this one. Okay, here we go.
Yeah, and I think you might find it quite useful. Storing information is an important function of our brains, and scientists are always looking at ways to improve it, but also to stop it deteriorating or becoming worse.
Yes. And we all know that memories, that's the noun for things we remember from the past, are nice to have, but also important for remembering who people are, where things are kept, and how things look.
Okay, there's a lot of information there, Paula, but I don't care for details. I only care for the main idea or for main information. What can you tell me about that last part?
I don't really understand.
Let's do it together. This part is hard because they are speaking faster and they have an accent, right? This is the British accent, and it affects, all right? It affects the understanding. Let's do it together. Look.
We are, and I think you might find it quite useful.
Okay, so yes, we are talking about improving our memory, and he's saying you can find it quite useful. Okay, so this information is going to be useful for you. This information is going to be good for you because you can use it. Okay, so you can find it quite useful. This information is important for you.
Storing information is an important function of our brains.
Okay, storing. What is to store information? Paola, it's in the chat, just in case. What is to store information? And here he's using the joint, right? Storing information is an important function of our brains. What is to store information, Paola? What do you say?
Maybe it's like a library in our brains. So you know, but you need to remember.
Yes, it's related to that one. And there is a very similar word that you can use. Instead of store, you can use the verb save, right? Save information, right? To save information. So yes, it's like a library that you have over there. When you store information, you save important information. You remember important information because now it's stored, okay? It's stored, it's saved, it's kept in your head, right? So good. So they say that this is a very important function of our brains. And it is, right? It's important to remember things.
Scientists are always looking at ways to improve it, but
Okay,
also
scientists, right? People who work with science, scientists, they are always looking for, they are always searching for ways to improve our memories, right? And you mentioned some of those ways, Paola, right? With strategies, with techniques. So scientists find ways so that we can improve our memory.
to stop it deteriorating.
And also to stop it deteriorating, right? What is deteriorating, Paola? What do you say? Because scientists want to stop the brain from deteriorating.
I don't know how to explain.
But do you know the translation in Spanish? Do you know what's deteriorating?
Teoría.
More than one, actually it's only one word. Es una palabra, only one word. Deteriorating. What is something similar? Busca algo similar que es negativo que le puede pasar a tu cerebro. What is deteriorating?
Deterioro.
Yes, deteriorarse. All right, deteriorar. To damage, dañarse. All right, to get old, hacerse viejo, something like that. All right, so deteriorating. Deteriorating is when it starts, all right, being affected by time. It starts being affected by negative elements. All right, so if it deteriorates, what happens? And this is my question to finish, Paola. All right, I took advantage of time, but let's finish with this one. What happens when your brains, all right, or when your brain, only your brain, when your brain deteriorates? What do you say, Paola? What happens when your brain deteriorates?
You can't remember things.
Correct. Good. You cannot remember. And there are some very important diseases. What is a disease that you know, Paola, related to brain deterioration? A disease that you know.
It's the people that are sick about.
Yeah, exactly. Sickness or disease, right? What is the name of one disease that is related to brain deterioration?
Alzheimer.
Good, exactly. You have Alzheimer, right? You have dementia, you have Alzheimer. So you have diseases, right? Those are diseases. You have diseases that are related to brain deterioration, right? To deteriorate. And that's why scientists want to stop the brain from deteriorating. And to do that, and I'm just going to give you the advance to finish now, Paola, they are going to talk about food as well, because you can eat certain food to help your brain being strong, right? In order not to get deteriorated. But that's it. We're going to finish here. We're going to continue working on Thursday, Paola. Do you have any questions before finishing? Let me know, please.
Teacher, how to write thesis? Or what do you say?
Disease? Okay, I'm going to write it for you.
Yes,
It's like that. It's in the chat.
this. Okay.
Disease. It can be a disease or it can be diseases in plural.
This is okay.
All right, good. That's it then, Paola. As always, please down below you can find the poll or the survey. Answer the questions and let me know when you answer them, please.
Okay, teacher.
Thank you for being here. Have a good night and I'll see you tomorrow. All right?
Thank you. Bye, teacher.
Bye-bye. Take care.